Salutations!
Welcome to the Filmmakers podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Can we get a daddy check? Can we get a daddy check?
That's me.
Fox 7, lock and load.
All right.
That's daddy number 2.
Papa number 2. Papa number 1.
You listeners, you're like, what's that whole Fox thing about? You have no idea. You have no idea.
Actually, they
about,
do.
But...
If they've been listening, they do, because you played that on this show.
No, I know, but they don't really know what's happening.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And
they don't know what file I save that under my phone.
I should set my phone to be the Home Depot theme song.
The theme?
Like every time somebody calls me, it just starts playing the Home Depot theme song.
Home Depot has a theme song?
Yes. You don't know that guy. You're not a man at all, are
I
you?
know the fucking Jerry's theme song.
God, you just outed yourself as not daddy energy.
What the fuck do you mean? I know my I know my local hardware store theme song.
What? Oh, the Ace Hardware theme song?
Better head for Jerry's. Better. No? You didn't have Jerry's?
What the fuck is that? Is that Oregon?
I go to Jerry's, but their theme isn't a banger. Listeners, Jerry's is a local chain in Oregon that who gives a fuck?
Hello,
What's
everyone.
Going on?
Oh my God! Welcome to the Filmmakers. I'm Zack.
I'm Mick.
Numero uno.
Papa numero uno, Alexis.
This is number one.
Oh boy. No, okay, so what's the Home Depot theme song?
We don't have the license to play it. It's not even, it doesn't have lyrics. Yeah. It's just like a sick country
noise.
Beat.
Wow.
Yeah. A sick country beat.
It's
great.
It slaps, it bangs.
Awesome.
You know what, Zach? I will send it to you on Spotify, and you can listen to it when you nail themes into the wall.
Exactly.
Like I do.
You can play it with PVC pipe. That's how you know it's good.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed...
I play that in my car when I go to Home Depot, actually. Just, to get me in the mood.
I'm really more of a Lowe's girl, but
you would be.
I cheat on Lowe's with Home Depot sometimes.
Is it because of the plants?
It's closer. No, it's just closer to where my sister and my place is now, so...
All right, Home
but
Depot,
Lowe's,
if you're
I
listening...
feel like I just like the vibe of Lowe's more.
Yeah, I can't get on board with Home Depot because they're apparently a pain in the ass to work with in the plywood business. My father's referred to them as home despot, and difficult to deal with.
Fuck, dude, he's got their ass.
Got their fucking ass. You really, really fucking nailed their ass to the wall.
I don't know what Lowe's feels like if you took Home Depot and you combined it with Walmart. If you cross-pollinated them.
I can see that.
I don't know why I feel that way.
But it's so much more like Home Depot than it is like a Walmart.
You know what? I think it might just be the blue logo.
I was about to say, it's the color scheme.
Yeah, it's kind of, honestly, I feel like Home Depot might be like for the average Joe, and Lowe's is for like the housewife redesigning her kitchen.
The basic Janine.
Hey, have we seen any movies, guys?
Yeah. Hey,
anybody seen any films?
I have not seen any films, so you guys take it away.
Great, I have. Zach, we've both seen one, right?
Yes.
I've seen another one. We've both seen Love Lies Bleeding.
What'd you think?
Right? Zach, you saw it, right?
Yes, I saw Love Lies Bleeding.
So, what did you think?
Okay,
what do you think?
What do you think?
Jesus Christ.
What did I think? I'll be honest, I've thought Kristen Stewart was like hot for like a long time, like at least like a decade now. Even, people say her, whatever, the person who does my nails, like she says that she only has like one acting style. And I disagree.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I feel like she has like a certain inflection in how she delivers certain lines, and I think that can be like, if you go across the board in like her different movies, that they're similar. But I think that she does drop herself into the characters, you know? And they're different characters, obviously. But in this movie, again, oh my God, wow. You know, I want to see Kristen Stewart forcefully take somebody's hand and put it above their head. On repeat, just somebody stitch that video together over and over again, and I'm set for like a while.
Yeah, it's a sexy film. I'm not gonna lie. It's also like a really fucking. It's got that Cronenberg type juice where it's like the body is both so erotic and like so unknowable and disgusting. I really enjoyed Love Lies Bleeding. Having not rewatched Dune Part 2 yet, I'm still giving Dune Part 2 the edge as my top movie of the year right now, because I just have a feeling that it's gonna only improve on another watch. But I fucking really liked Love Lies Bleeding. It's got a great cast. Along with Kristen Stewart. It's nice to see Dave Franco in a thing again. I feel like I haven't seen him in something.
I know.
I really like Dave Franco. I think he's very funny, and he gets to play like both someone who's pretty menacing and just like a fucking dipshit in this movie. Ed Harris.
Jenna Malone didn't have a lot, but
what she had, she was great with. Ed Harris has some of the nastiest fucking hair I've ever seen in a movie.
Dude, I was like, why is it that long?
He's got like
to be like that.
He's got like the creep show hair.
Full bald. Yeah, he does. Or that guy from fucking Rocky Horror. What is it?
Riff Raff.
Yeah.
But even that guy has a healthier head of hair than Ed Harris in this. Just based off of the trailers alone.
Ed Harris has like a whole little helmet section that's just gone there.
It's kind of like right on the precipice where Smeagol became Gollum.
Yeah.
Like, it's
to be honest,
right there, riding that line.
I loved how Love Lies Bleeding, like, me and my sister like finished that movie, and number one, she said, now that's real love. I was like, girl.
Damn, girl, word.
Girl, you know what? My sister is very big on loyalty, so that situation between the two of them, like, my sister was really yes.
How does she feel about toes?
The energy I need in my life. How
does she feel about sucking on toes?
I don't love that. And you know what? There was a scene where that happened, and I totally thought of Mick, too.
Listeners, you can't see this right now, but I have the biggest shit-eating grin on my face as soon as we started talking about sucking
I would describe it as a toe-gobbling grin.
Yes.
Yeah, which there's some mild toe gobbling in here, a little toe nipping as well.
Yeah.
Not
you
my
might
thing.
say this
I
film
personally
is the total package.
Yes,
oh Jesus fucking Christ!
And you can take that to the little oinky bank, little pig bank. This little piglet went all the way home.
Wow, I loved Kristen Stewart's mullet. In general, I feel like she had a really good presence, and that fucking girl, was her name Daisy or something?
Yes, the actress.
Oh my God, I just wanted to wring her neck.
Anna Baryshnikov, her and Katie O'Brien, I really think were standouts. I'd also like to note that my internet cut out right after Mick said the total package, and then froze with him just like right up against the camera, so fucking pleased with himself. It was just awful. It was just awful for me. We gotta do something about this internet, because it's haunting me. Yeah. No, I'm in on Rose Glass as a filmmaker. I think Saint Maud's a lot of fun. I think this is even better. Takes some real fucking wild swings in the third act that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah,
Mick, when you get a free moment, you got to check that out.
I can't wait. As soon as I wrap this movie, I'm back in LA and I'm watching a bunch of films. I'm going to be in the cinema again.
When are you wrapped?
I have one more week. So.
Oh, nice. Soon. Congratulations.
I saw another new release.
What'd you see?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, did you see the new Ghostbusters movie?
No, I saw Lindsay Lohan's
Okay,
Irish Wish on Netflix.
Oh my God!
Did you watch that with Sloan?
Wait, really?
I may have watched it with Sloan. She may have fallen
God,
asleep.
wait.
That was what I asked.
That is so great. Tell us, what did you think?
Tell me exactly what you think.
Irish Wish makes Falling for Christmas look like It's a Wonderful Life.
Are you fucking serious?
Are you
I couldn't even
joking?
get 10
Because-
minutes into that.
Yeah. Oh, Mick, I got so mad at you because you couldn't let me deep dive horribly into that movie.
Alexis, if I had to do it over again, I would do the exact same thing. Because I couldn't allow that to happen. I could not allow that to happen. Anyways, what did you think of the Irish Wish?
I think that, like, it has that, like, uncanny, compelling quality that many of these, like, Hallmark-ass holiday movies do, where it's like, this can't be what this is. These can't be the words people are saying. I have a really, like, sinking feeling that this film was written by AI, and I honestly kind of hope it was. Because there's just some dialogue where I'm like, a human can't have written this. Fuck you. No, absolutely not. But Irish Wish follows Maddie, a literary publisher who's in love with her client, Paul Kennedy, who's an Irish man. She's ghostwriting his books, but he ends up kind of falling in love with one of her friends, and when she's in Ireland for his wedding, she makes a wish on a magical chair that she marry Paul Kennedy. That she marry Paul Kennedy instead of her friend, and she wakes up in an alternate reality where this is coming true, and she has to learn that, hey, maybe he's not all that, and maybe she can fall in love with this British guy, which, like, side note, fucked up to make a movie that's coming out on St. Paddy's Day where it's like she needs to choose the British man over this proud Irishman. Like, what the fuck? Anyways,
I respect that.
Yeah.
it sucks shit. Yeah, you love the goddamn Crown, Mick.
Honestly, that is a good show.
Just it's illegal. I can't gaze on that. But, like, ultimately, the thing that I've noticed with both this and Falling for Christmas, and basically any of this kind of movie, which I've seen, more of than I might otherwise have if I didn't have love in my life, all of these movies are fucking 50% drone shots. Like, if you cut out all of the fucking establishing, like, drone cinematography in these movies, they'd all be about 40 minutes long. Like, it's crazy how many shots of just, like, a drone fucking slowly going over some landscape there are in these things. Yeah, it's bad. Listen, Lindsay Lohan, get that bag. I'm glad you're working, I guess, but why does it have to be like this? Not good.
Are you glad she's working?
Like, I don't just like.
Why wouldn't we be glad she's working?
Empathetically, as like a human being, as
we get nothing out of it.
Like people need to make money to eat and put food on the table. As like on that level, as like just kind of like basic like person to person. Yes, I'm happy for her. In terms of like the acting on display, could probably take it or leave it. But yeah, it's bad, and you shouldn't watch it. But I did.
Speaking of bad movies, I watched Night of the Creeps.
Oh, I can't wait to watch Night of the Creeps.
And of all the movies I've ever seen, this is certainly one of them. You know what's so funny is, like, I don't know if I've ever seen the movie all the way through because I caught it on TV, obviously, the first time that I ever watched it. but I'm pretty convinced that wherever I caught it on TV had to have been the Sci-Fi Channel. Had to have been the Sci-Fi Channel. Because I was like, there's no way that all of this is going on in this movie and it be this not great for it to have not shown up on the Sci-Fi Channel, because I feel like the Sci-Fi Channel is like kind of infamous for that, for having just like movies that are like, they have like a really interesting concept, you know, but the acting and maybe like some of the stuff it's a little just like, what?
The
Why?
execution's lacking a little.
Yeah, the execution's definitely lacking.
You know, gets good. This actually gets good reviews online from critics.
Does it?
Yeah, no, this is 73% of Rotten Tomatoes and 70%
Alexis,
from the audience.
It definitely has. I like the design of this, like the slug kind of creature thing. It's fun. But the more interesting character is the friend of the main guy who ends up like being your like kind of main character. And I think that guy is way more interesting than the guy that we get as like our like official like kind of hero towards the end,
right.
You know? So I was like, oh, that's bummy. I'm like, I think his friend was much more interesting of a character, and his acting I think was personally like better.
I have a
Our
question.
zombie-looking Dolph Lundgren here is giving real Deadite energy.
Yeah, and then it's like also there's aliens, but then there's also an axe murderer at some point, and I'm just
this
like,
sounds fucking awesome.
You're selling me on this.
Alexis, here's my question for you. How much do you think I am going to like this movie?
I think at the very least you'll be like, oh, this is kind of like one of those like B movies that
I'm sold.
That like you could like throw in like a rotation for like, I don't know. Honestly, I would probably really enjoy this if I got drunk and like, like I played a drinking game to it. It would probably be really fun. I could like forgive some of the other things.
If you perhaps watched it with your boy Zack after a couple of drinks around Halloween.
Yeah, I could probably enjoy that, yeah.
Okay. It stars Tom Atkins. It stars Tom Atkins from John Carpenter films.
From Halloween 3, Season of the Witch?
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah, and from Maniac Cop. Yeah, that's a good sign. But Alexis, I have to say, good for you for watching an 80s horror film. Welcome to the fray. And
thank you very much for putting this.
It's not like I haven't seen an 80s horror movie before.
Yeah, but you did it on your own accord.
Yeah,
I'm
a big fan of Sleepaway Camp, okay? And I have been since I saw it on TV as a teenager.
I'm a fan of everything it depicts.
God, the politics of it especially.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
Listen.
That franchise has some of my favorite film deaths ever. The battery acid in either the first or the second movie is like one of my favorite deaths ever.
No, I understand, Liz. Sleepaway Camp's fucking problematic as hell, but I do have a bit of a soft spot.
I can't criticize you because I bought that on Blu-ray and Amoeba Music.
LOL.
There it is.
I remember I saw that for the first time with Zack, and I was so beside myself that the next time I went to Amoeba Music, I was like, I have to own that. Like, you can't not have that.
Oh man,
that's mad funny.
That's really fucking funny. Well, Alexis, thank you for bringing that back to the forefront of my mind. I'll be watching that quite soon, I'm sure. I saw a horror movie I had not seen before. Which was a 1964 Japanese film called Onibaba.
Oh, Onibaba. Yeah, I tried watching that, and I didn't think I was in the wrong headspace for it. I couldn't get into it.
It's a really good movie. What's it called? Onibaba.
Onibaba.
It means demon woman. It's a really interesting kind of anti-war movie exploring the lives of like just kind of common people during a time in feudal Japan when there were like warring emperors. There was one emperor in Kyoto and another emperor somewhere else. But yeah, it's just this like really small cast, kind of interesting like psychological horror movie that deals with the relationship between this woman and her daughter-in-law. I don't want to give too much away, but it comes very highly recommended. It was in Willem Dafoe's Criterion Closet picks. So yeah, I'm very glad I watched it. It was a good movie. I think there's some there's some remake of it in the works right now that I don't know. I'm not super interested in, but it's happening. And yeah, that's what I watched.
I'm really excited. I heard today that in film-related news that Cillian Murphy, because of his Oscar nomination, he got the Peaky Blinders movie greenlit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'm so psyched for.
Hell yes.
I'm so excited.
Woo! Oh my God. Okay, wait. Hold on. No, I have to text my sister. This is what she's been waiting for. She's been patiently waiting for this.
Is she a Peaky Blinders fan?
Oh, big time. She's a Thomas Shelby girl.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Well, listen,
yeah.
If off the strength of his Oscar win, Cillian Murphy can get Peaky Blinders movie greenlit, can Ryan Gosling's fucking heat off of Barbie finally get us the goddamn Nice Guys 2? Please. That movie's grown on streaming. Its star is like more popular than ever. Please give it to me. Please give it to me.
Please give that to Russell Crowe because he's tired of fielding questions about Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clips of him just like
he's like, I'm dead.
I don't know what it's about. It hurts me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, he was like, I won't lie. Like, there's some jealousy there, but my character's dead.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, because he said he was in Italy recently, and the island that they shot all of the Colosseum bits on, they rebuilt the set in the exact same spot. And Ridley Scott like looked across the water and was kind of like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
same place. All right, cool."
Yeah.
Also, I saw today that Furiosa, the Mad Max saga, is going to have its debut at Cannes, which is a good sign.
Hell yeah!
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking stoked for that.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Alien film?
Yes, that was what I wanted to bring up. Thank you for reminding me, Mick.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm just aware that it exists.
It doesn't really show you anything other than like it's an alien movie. There's a spaceship in it. There's an alien.
Is it a reboot? Is it a sequel?
I don't think it's a
Does it matter?
reboot. Yeah, I think it's just like what if we did another story with an alien in it. I generally like Fede Alvarez. I don't think he's made anything that has like blown me away. But
what did he make again?
He made Evil Dead 2013, which is
I
like
that film.
Solid gnarly fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he made Don't Breathe, which also like pretty fucked up.
I texted you, Zack, about, I feel like we have maybe brought this up, but I saw the TV Glow.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
And Mick, when you see Love Lies Bleeding, I think the trailer will play before the movie starts. It looks like it's going to be very interesting, and that's that same director of We're All Going to the Worlds.
Yeah, Jane Schoenbrunn.
Sick.
Yeah, movies, they're happening.
Movies are happening, folks, and we love it. We're so excited.
We do love it.
So excited.
Shall we hop out?
Yeah, I could hop out.
Let's tap our way. Let's cabaret our way. Let's do the can into the big discussion of the day.
Yes.
That's right. We're at our final big topic of musical March.
Yes.
All right. I think we're okay now.
Yeah.
I hate to see it go. I've been having a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, no, me too. Hate to see it go.
Yeah. Musical March is coming to an end.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
It is coming to a big, big end. And today's big topic that we are exploring is cinema of the acquired taste. These are some movies or filmmakers or even genres, however you want to kind of explore this, that are kind of you love it or hate it. They're a little controversial, maybe a little divisive. But what are some filmmakers or films that maybe we have a particular affinity for that perhaps others have a particular affliction against?
I mean, I think that, it's kind of a gimme to say that David Lynch is a bit of an acquired taste filmmaker. He definitely was an acquired taste filmmaker for me because the first time I saw any David Lynch movies, I was rip-roaring high. I was 19 years old, and I saw Mulholland Drive, and then I went to go see a screening of Eraserhead for its 40th anniversary at the New Art Theater in Santa Monica. And I was terrified and confused. And I was having a real bad time, and I didn't like it, and I think that may have contributed to me stopping smoking weed. I have to be fully honest.
So Eraserhead?
The 1-2 punch of Mulholland Drive and Eraserhead. And
was it a double feature?
No, so I watched Mulholland Drive for one of my film classes at a friend of mine's house, and we were like taking bong rips the whole time, and I was like, this is starting to freak me out, man. I don't know. And then we went to the screening of Eraserhead, and there were like people dressed up, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And Eraserhead, if you don't know, is an extremely surreal nightmare of a film. And I was not vibing with it, man. I do too now. But let me tell you, it was a really scary way to watch it for the first time. That's like one of the few times in my adult life where a film has made me legit feel unsafe. I feared for my life that evening. But I think
it's such a fever dream.
Yeah, I think that
I love the woman in the radio.
Yes, outside of my own nightmare experience with my first couple of David Lynch movies, he is just a difficult director to kind of get into because he has a very unique style. He's not really interested in traditional, straightforward narrative storytelling. His movies are often really dark and weird, and also have like a strange aesthetic. I don't know how to describe it. He often leans into artifice in kind of surprising ways. So yeah, I would say David Lynch, kind of a quintessential acquired taste filmmaker.
The more movies I watch, the more I actually kind of enjoy that there are some absolute classics that I have yet to see. And Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet are both films I have not ever watched.
We should watch Blue Velvet together sometime. I've never seen it either.
I've seen Blue Velvet, but I haven't seen
I need to watch more
Mulholland Drive.
Another David that is quite...
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is Cronenberg an acquired taste? Or is he just like controversial? Like, I guess you could. I guess those things are in a way kind of synonymous.
Of like acquired taste, or like you just have a specific taste. Like saying like Park Chan-wook movies are my favorite or something.
I was going to say Park Chan-wook.
What is that an acquired taste, or is that just there's an extra turn in one of your screws,
Right. Well said.
Alexis, that's your fucking favorite turn of phrase.
Yeah.
What?
You love
proud of it.
almost doing that Eminem lyric. You love it. You're crazy for it. You've done that like 3 times in the past 3 months.
Oh yeah. You know, to be honest, I wasn't thinking about that though. I was just it's an apt metaphor.
It is.
It's a part of her
Analogy.
everyday
I
vernacular.
don't know which the difference is anymore.
You know, I have one that I honestly think is an acquired taste because a lot of people like it and I haven't acquired a taste for it really, is Brian De Palma.
Mm.
Yeah, I could see that.
The more I watch, it's called Blowout, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the more I watch that movie, the less I appreciate it.
Interesting.
It's like
I've only seen it once.
I've seen Scarface. I think that's overrated. Speaking of classic films that I've never seen, I still have to watch Carrie. So we'll revisit that. But for some reason, like every De Palma movie I watch, I'm just not head over heels for it the way so many other people are. Like his one with the femme fatale one he did with Michael Caine.
Oh, Dress to Kill?
Dress to Kill, the kind of the giallo picture. I enjoyed that the most, I think. If I had to pick my favorite of the ones I've seen.
God. The trans community must be so happy with this episode, us dropping both fucking Sleepaway Camp and Dress to Kill.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We're on the cutting edge.
We're on something.
I don't know. I don't know. Brian De Palma doesn't he doesn't bedazzle me the way he does with so many others.
Alexis, who's an acquired taste filmmaker, or what's an acquired taste film that you've got cooking?
So I'll reiterate a point that I made like a while back of I was really on the fence about Paul Thomas Anderson for like a while. Like, I think after you guys saw Licorice Pizza, you were so hyped. You really liked it. I did not really like it. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm being unfair. I'm going to watch another movie, watch Phantom Thread. And I was like, hell yeah. Watch Punch Drunk Love. And I was like, I don't know. But then I watched...
I agree
but
with
then
that.
I watched Boogie Nights and I was like, oh yeah, Motorhead.
God.
Nice.
Yeah, like one of the best scenes ever. So I think that for me was a hard fought acquired taste because I really kind of wanted to dislike him because so often he has characters that are not likable. And I think that, you know, for certain viewers that can be an issue, and it definitely can be for me, in depending on why the character is unlikable. So I think, yeah, that's my answer is Paul Thomas Anderson. That's an acquired, because I could say Park Chan-wook, but I think that you have to. It's not an acquired taste. You have very specific taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you don't
like
like that, if you can acquire that taste.
Yeah, you kind of got it or you don't.
Yeah, see, that's a good point. The reason I'm glad you brought up Paul Thomas Anderson for you is because, like, I mean, that's like someone who the first time they have sushi, they really don't get it. I think it's gross. But everyone loves it, and you keep wanting to try it, and you keep trying it, and you keep trying it until eventually you actually develop a palate for it.
Okay.
Which is what you did with PTA.
Yeah, and you know
However, with like Park Chan-wook, as soon as you have it, you love it.
Yeah.
But other people, as
Yeah.
soon as they have it,
Yeah.
they hate it and they're not going to try it. So that's a good pick of like someone that you actually actively tried to get into.
You could actually, as a separate section, you could put the Mission Impossible movies in my corner. Because I was trying to fight you guys on that one so long.
You were.
And
the first one's a De Palma movie.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
I didn't fucking like it.
That's the Palma movie I like.
Okay, here's a filmmaker who it took some work for me to get into, and there are many of his films that I do not think are very good. Mm-hmm. Michael Bay. Michael Bay, he is a fucking abrasive filmmaker. He seems to hate people.
LOL.
Right.
His movies are incredibly loud and extremely stupid, oftentimes. But I think part of why I had a hard time with Michael Bay was, one, I was never interested in Transformers, and they were coming out when I was a kid, and I was like, that shit looks dumb as fuck. And then I saw The Rock and liked it okay, but I was like, Jesus Christ, this fucking scene with the gay hairdresser is just like a nightmare. And then my dad fucking loves Armageddon, and I was just like, oh, I can't keep seeing this.
My dad loves Pearl Harbor.
Armageddon was...
My girlfriend loves Armageddon.
Armageddon...
Just because she loves Bruce Willis.
I don't know if I've ever watched Armageddon, like, in a single chunk. I've seen the whole movie, but it was always something where, like, my dad would be flipping on channels. He'd be like, oh, Armageddon's on. And then it would remain on until completion. And I'd be like, fucking really, man? But, yeah, I think the things that turned the corner on me for Michael Bay were revisiting The Rock and kind of becoming a bigger Nicolas Cage fan and being like, okay, well, actually, like, there is some very impressive filmmaking happening here. This guy is not like a anonymous fucking hack. You know, he is a guy with a perspective and a distinct style, which, you know, when it works, it fucking works. And then I watched Pain and Gain, and I was like, oh, this is like actually a like pretty biting satire with some very good performances, particularly from The Rock. So those kind of turned me around on Michael Bay. And then, you know my feelings on Ambulance. I had a fucking ball with Ambulance.
Well, I was just going to say, like, you know how people say that, like, fucking M. Night Shyamalan is only good when he is in Philadelphia or when he's in Pennsylvania, and when he leaves that area, he's fucking trash. You could argue that for Michael Bay in Miami.
That's
because
funny.
I find Michael Bay movies that take place in Miami, like, I like Bad Boys.
I still haven't seen Bad Boys.
Yeah, I've never seen Bad Boys.
I think that's a genuine 90s banger. But, like, when he leaves Miami, it's like, oh, God, what are you doing in Pearl Harbor? Oh, God.
Yeah,
not good.
I mean, listen, The Rock's in San Fran, and it fucking rules.
Yeah, actually, okay, so I went to the bar with the crew members of this movie I'm with, and Zach, you'll appreciate this, because the first AD of the movie I'm on is from San Francisco. It's from San Francisco, and he says the quintessential San Francisco film is Zodiac.
Of course it is.
Because it captures, like, that era so well, to, like, the 10th degree. But the producer of the film, who I have gotten in arguments with on many movies that were at the Academy Awards this year, said that I think the quintessential film of San Francisco is The Rock.
That's a cool opinion. I gotta be honest, that's pretty cool.
I just sat back and I watched them go at it for like 15 minutes. The producer who said that the quintessential San Francisco film is from Philly versus the guy from San Francisco who says it's Zodiac.
Oh,
so
man.
I enjoyed that discourse.
Mick
I thought
just
that was
fucking
pretty good.
sitting by, fucking popping peanuts into his mouth.
I was eating the popcorn. I was like having such a good time. Yeah. Okay, here's another acquired taste. Zach, I liked how you mentioned how, Michael Bay is like, he has a very distinct style. It's kind of like when you're watching, it's like it's emulated. That's the thing. Is like Michael Bay has a style that is very much emulated. A very distinct style that I'll just take to the grave. I can't fucking stand is Jean-Luc Godard. Basically, like any French New Wave stuff. I'm sorry, it's trash. You can't convince me of otherwise.
Have you seen the 400 Blows?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
It's very different from Godard. I think you'd probably like it.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't just like lump all French New Wave together. I think maybe it's just Godard that yeah, I wanted to it turned me German. I like wanted to invade France so bad after watching Godard. I was like, oh my God. March into Paris.
I just can't even count the ways that Mick has like said some of the most problematic metaphors I've ever heard in my life.
Listenership has been going like up recently on the show, and it's making me real nervous for Mick.
Hey, all I'm saying, the correlation I say, the hotter the takes, the more listeners we get.
Oh,
is that how that works? I don't know.
Well, maybe it's not a direct correlation, but yeah, I just can't. I can't do Godard. I mean, and I get it. Like, I see why it was popular in the 60s in America at the time. It was because like American filmmaking had been so fucking stingy. So it was a welcome change. Yeah. But man, I can't sit through that shit.
You know, some of them have like
Breathless.
But there's so many of those movies have like some of the best stills that I ever saw on Tumblr during like 2010 to 2013. So
counterpoint.
Well, yeah, if you isolate it from the movie, if you take away the context, then sure.
Yeah, no, I do have to give you that. Breathless is like arguably one of the most annoying movies ever made.
God, I
talk about a slog.
Don't think I've really seen much French New Wave at all, so I really should get on that and see what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Well,
okay. One more I'll say. That I think I'm trying to get into. I'm not sure I love, but I can certainly appreciate is John Waters.
Yeah, I can see how that could be an acquired taste.
I think John Waters is an acquired taste.
Actually,
for sure.
Yeah, John Waters was an acquired taste for me because I didn't really like Multiple Maniacs very much, and then I saw Female Trouble, and I was like, oh, you don't say, John.
Oh, see, can't relate. I grew up watching Hairspray, and I was like, love John Waters. I was like, I don't even need to see any of his other movies. I know I love this man. And
yeah,
I may not have liked, Female Trouble as much as I liked Hairspray, but you know what? I respect the man for being a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's kind of the overall theme of all of the filmmakers we're talking about is, except for Michael Bay, he's just being an asshole.
In his own way.
Everyone else is being a weirdo.
In his own way, he do be a freak. He's just a freak that can make a fuck ton of money. Well, would we like to talk about another freak?
Sure.
See, I don't think that applies to him.
I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I'm like, that's.
What do you
those
mean?
Are rather harsh words.
Yeah. Okay.
The freak I'm referring to is Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah, what makes him a freak?
He's like a fucking hyperactive circus clown who snorted a bunch of fucking ketamine. Like,
you mean a ballroom dancer?
First of all,
yeah, I guess.
First of all, I'm just gonna put it out there that I watched this movie with my nephew who is 8 years old, and he was in the middle of playing one of his new Nintendo Switch game. And almost immediately upon the first 10 minutes of this movie, I could see him get distracted from playing his game and get distracted from the TV, and he kept turning up. And I was like, what's crazy is that this movie was made 20 years ago, but the way that it's edited and styled is still very, editing has just gotten faster and faster in some ways. And the fact that this was made 20 years ago, but can literally steal the attention of a kid who is knee deep in a game, I think that that's impressive.
No shit, it can steal your attention. The opening 15 minutes of this movie are like a fucking gay Australian man grabbing you by the ears and screaming in your face. It is so loud.
You are being so, God, yeah, that is so minimizing of what this is.
Okay.
That is so, hey guys, listen up folks. In case you're curious, today's episode is about Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
From 2001, directed by Baz Luhrmann. And if you haven't seen this movie, well, buckle up because we're about to tell you what it's about. A young Englishman, played by a Scotsman, in the Paris of 1899 becomes infatuated with Satine, a singer at the Moulin Rouge. However, she has been promised by the manager to the Duke to return for funding his next production. As the young lovers meet in secret, Satine's wedding day draws closer, but she hides a fatal secret from both Christian and the Duke.
Boom, she's not well.
I don't know if does she hide it?
She kind of.
I think Ziegler hides it more.
Ziegler hides it more. She's kind of hiding it. So
she doesn't know
after
she's
watching,
she doesn't know she's dying until like almost the end of the movie. We're in like the third act.
Yeah, Google didn't watch this film.
So after I first watched this movie in high school on a date. And was not a big fan of it.
Lucky gal.
I didn't hugely enjoy it. I think
How did the date go?
It went pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice. Do you have anyone you'd like to thank for that?
No.
Perhaps Mr. Luhrmann?
No.
For setting the vibe, for setting the mood?
Yeah, it's like I need to make a move here because I can't fucking look at this anymore.
Wow. Wait, so you pulled her attention away from
Sure did.
From Moulin
Sure
Rouge
did.
For
And
you?
she went?
She did.
No wonder you guys aren't together.
I said lucky girl. Yeah, no wonder that
We're still
failed.
friends. But I think that I've landed on this is probably a 2.5 out of 5 for me, simply because on any given watch of Moulin Rouge, it either sits around a 3 for me or around a 2 for me. On a good watch, I can be like, okay, it's got actors I like. It's got incredible production design. And on a bad watch, I'm like, this is just fucking all of the things I don't like about Baz. I revisited my Letterboxd review of this movie from 2022, which I must have watched this movie like right after I watched Elvis.
I think we
and
did.
I think that
Didn't we watch part of this together?
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think this hits on a lot of my feelings of this. So I open with, I'm exhausted by Baz Luhrmann. Like, I genuinely think I can only watch his films piecemeal because after a certain amount of Baz business, my brain just fucking shuts off. In a lot of ways, Moulin Rouge is everything that irks the shit out of me about Baz on display. Cartoon sound effects whenever a character moves to elicit a laugh, shots barely lasting longer than 0.05 seconds, and almost no quiet moments to make the loud ones count. However, I must grudgingly admit that his style does very much fit the material here. Every moment of Moulin Rouge feels like you're in a demented, acid-fueled circus and Baz Luhrmann is the ringmaster, which absolutely gels with a film about a demented, absinthe-fueled circus. Unlike in some of his films, which I do not like, Elvis, or that I actively loathe, Australia, the movie here is simple and doesn't try to deal in massive world events or political themes, which can and do become laughable in Luhrmann's hyperactive style. Kidman and McGregor are swinging for the fences, but keeping an emotional truth in their performances. Broadbent is entertaining more often than he isn't, and John Leguizamo is going for it. I don't love this film, but I respect it for what it is. Also, finally, and something that I absolutely stand by here, the Like a Virgin number is like a transcendently funny and is a 5-star film separate from this movie. It is absolutely insane that Baz takes an intermission in the middle of Jim Broadbent and Richard Roxburgh chasing each other around to cut to Nicole Kidman dying of tuberculosis. That's mad lad shit.
Yeah, I will say that... So I text both of you after watching this saying that I had an unexpected result of watching this film. I'll say that to preface all of that I watched a movie a bunch as a kid. I can't remember which one it was, but the VHS always had a trailer for Moulin Rouge in front of it. And I remember it always stuck with me because it was such a wild, vivid fever dream of a world that it was previewing. And the trailer very much faithfully shows you what the movie is, because that's exactly what the picture is. It's this carnival of debauchery and glitter and glam. And I watched it again in college, I think, or at least after college. But lately, I've been sober. If you listen to the last episode, in Mamma Mia, I had to watch that movie sober, which was probably a mistake. And after watching this, I realized that I think this was the first time I've seen Moulin Rouge completely stone cold sober. It was in the middle of the afternoon, the sun was out, and I had previously given this 4 stars. I reread my review, and after having seen this sober, without the assistance of weed, without the assistance of alcohol, I'm torn between a 4.5 and a 5.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, the funny, and Zach, I'm glad you brought up Like a Virgin, because here's the funny thing. This is when I realized that something different was happening. When I was inebriated, I would often watch this, and I would just be so swept up in the musical, the love themes, the love anthems. And when we would get to Like a Virgin, I would be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of silly.
That's the best number. That's the best number in the movie.
Let's go back to the real, the genuine emotion shit. Watching this movie sober and watching Like a Virgin, I laughed so hard. I did not realize that, Zach, I think I might agree with you, that might be the highlight of the picture. It is so well done. It is so great. I love where it, like, when it takes place in the story. It's, to me, it shows that Baz Luhrmann, as a filmmaker, has command of his craft. This is his comedy. This is his love letter to his own Red Curtain trilogy. And if you're not familiar with the Red Curtain trilogy, Zach's rolling his eyes right now, listeners, because he doesn't appreciate fine art. The first one is Strictly Ballroom. The second one is Romeo and Juliet. Another movie that shocked me. Alexis showed me Romeo and Juliet, and I was like, fuck, I wish I'd seen this movie sooner. And this finishes it off with Moulin Rouge. And I adore this picture. I really do. I'm so happy that that Musical March is bookended by 2 4.5-star films, Cabaret and Moulin Rouge. And these share a lot of things in common. They both have Master of Ceremonies.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think they have some things in common, but I'll get to that later. Alexis, you've been a champion of this movie for a long time.
Yeah, you know, it truly brings me joy to hear somebody else sing the praises that I so often have to carry alone in melody, and now I have it in harmony as well. So
there it is.
So yeah, you know, I had this realization last night while I was watching the movie. I was like, wow, you know, like 2 of my favorite movies ever when I was a kid that were like about love and were with real people. Because remember, I watched a lot of movies, a lot of kids' movies, but loved Titanic, loved Moulin Rouge. Okay, those were like of real people. These were the 2 movies that were like in heavy rotation. And what are they but an artistic twink and a smoking hot redhead? I was like, there's some big parallels here, buddy.
That's the connection.
Yeah.
But on the real, like, I remember when I was a kid, I would watch this movie over and over again, and I would cry every single time. Like, at the very end, I would cry every time. I don't know. It just, like, I felt like what had happened to her was, like, so tragic. And I kind of have this feeling of, like, I wish I could go back to whoever I was at that time and, like, feel what it was that I felt for this movie when I was a kid. Because I feel like it was so magical. Like, I think that I you know, some of this music I had never really heard before, you know? Like, I wasn't really didn't grow up on like classic music, and I also didn't know. I kind of like, I think when I was a kid, I thought that these songs were just original songs, I think. And then I was like, oh, they're not original songs. They're definitely not.
We will discuss that later. Keep going.
But yeah, I kind of have the same thing now when I watch it, is that Like a Virgin is the highlight for me because it is so fucking funny. Every time I watch it now, I get the giggles. I think that Jim Broadbent is the MVP of this movie. I think that
I 100% agree.
He is everything. And that's not to say that I still don't love Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor, because they are bringing energy. And I think that Ewan McGregor is really, really good. Like, his singing's good. And, you know, just acting in the way that he is good, but you know, he's low-key a little toxic, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say that. Is I was thinking about this. I think that the other MVP that's not on screen here is Baz Luhrmann, and I think that Harold Ziegler is very much a surrogate for Baz Luhrmann. He's the showrunner. He's the director of all this. He's the one that's having to make some creative compromises so that the money people, the Duke, can make this go further. I think there's a real metaphor for Ziegler being, you know, again, being kind of like the master of ceremonies, being this filmmaker, this showrunner, this the greatest showman kind of thing. But I agree, yeah, Jim Broadbent is absolutely fantastic. But Alexis, you said something which is, you know, when you first saw this, you thought that maybe these were all like original songs because you weren't familiar with all the other stuff. I read this article that they made a really good point. They said that they argue that this is a masterpiece. And they argue it because basically, there's nothing other than the style. There's nothing really new or exciting that's happening in this film, right? It's a tale as old as time. It's incredibly melodramatic, and that's something I really appreciated on the rewatch. It's just everything is cranked to 11. The drama, the acting, Nicole Kidman when she's having a fit, or when she's falling head over heels, everyone is just so wrapped up in emotion. I love seeing Nicole Kidman in this type of
role. It's really fun for me.
She's perfect.
Her barking is fucking crazy when she's just going.
It's a tale.
Like, stop doing that.
It's a tale as old as time, but this whole thing is recycled. Right? We've seen this type of love story before. We've seen the tragedy where this person, after they've fallen in love, dies at the end. Yeah. The music itself is recycled. They are borrowing from everything. There's only one original song in this, and I think that song, I forget the name of it, but it was originally written
for Romeo and Juliet.
For Romeo and Juliet. So even that in itself is kind of technically recycled.
It's I can't remember. It's Come What May.
Oh,
Come What May.
Really?
Right. I did my research.
But she uses a great example of when Satine is singing your song after having just heard it from Ewan McGregor. She's singing it to the Duke, and it's fake. It's recycled. We've heard it before. She's stealing it just as much as Baz Luhrmann is stealing it from Elton John. But then you hear Ewan McGregor sing it to Satine, and it might as well have been written for the fucking movie because it fits so well. And it kind of shows how it illustrates that even though you can use something or explore something that's been done before, you give it your own authentic emotion to it, and the way that Baz Luhrmann does with this is the way that Ewan McGregor does with the song, and it's your own. You make it your own because you're feeling the emotion so strongly.
You know, I really enjoy seeing this movie because one of my favorite Baz Luhrmann movies is actually Strictly Ballroom, and I think like seeing that movie so many times, and then seeing Elvis, Moulin Rouge, it's just crazy to me seeing how he was able to take something that he was kind of doing, like taking like a real story of people and then kind of putting in this kind of like cutaway, like how they do in Chicago, where it's like almost like a little inner monologue, like a fantasy, you know? It's so fun seeing that kind of bloom in Moulin Rouge. I think it's kind of the first time he's really done that. My nephew, when they were doing Your Song, he was like, how are they dancing in the sky? And I was like, well, I think it's actually supposed to be a visual representation of how they feel. That's why they're dancing in the sky. It's certainly more interesting to look at than them just singing to each other in this elephant, even though the elephant's cute. And it was like, I was like, it's been so long that I've watched this movie. I wonder what I thought of it. You know, some of these like more like fantasy elements of the film where it's like clear that it's a breakaway from reality, you know, this kind of like surreal aspect to it. It's very fun.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why I'm so thankful for the first 15 minutes that Zack, you say, is like being beaten over the head, because it's priming.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that.
Entering the world.
I understand the function of the first 15 minutes. I think it's a smart move to be like, this is the style of this movie. If you're not on board, then, you know,
you should probably leave.
get your ticket refunded.
Abandon all the OP.
Get your fucking ticket refunded. I think that, you know, I think Baz's style is not particularly for me, but I do think that this is a good story to tell with Baz's style because it is such like a fairy tale and a fantasy that like having things cranked up to 11 when the emotions are running so high and the story is so melodramatic. Like, you literally have Nicole Kidman doing the coughing into a handkerchief and seeing blood to communicate that she's not well. I think that it's a good fit for Baz's style. An interesting thing that I heard is that Baz, part of why Spectacular, the show they're putting on, is set in India, is because Baz kind of was setting out to make a English language Bollywood movie. He was like, I like how those movies can contain so many different elements and be so big and swing for the fences and have people buy into it. I've
said in the past he reminds me of Bollywood.
Yeah, I think that somehow Baz is even louder than most Bollywood movies. I think there's more of a.
Well, I think one of the first things he ever directed was like an opera. So
that makes sense.
You know, you really got to go all out for this.
I
guess I just like.
What did Guy Pearce say in Iron Man 3? Subtlety has had its day.
Yeah, I mean, that could be on the poster of literally any Baz Luhrmann movie.
And I love that. I absolutely adore that.
It is just
I don't know why.
It's interesting. And again, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum here, and I'm not trying to act like I'm fucking better than this. Like,
yeah, but maybe the listeners do want you to do that.
I mean, listen, I'll happily talk about the things that I don't like about this movie, but like at the end of the day, you know, like I just talked about an extremely loud, often very silly musical romance that I enjoy with the Mamma Mia films. So like, you know, I'm not saying that I'm immune to this sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that too is, and you may not agree with this, but like to me, Mamma Mia feels more like a studio job. This doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't feel like a studio job at all. This does not feel like a studio job remotely. I'm just talking about the kind of story being told. There are like parallels in that they are, you know, pretty like. I don't want to say one note, but like intentionally simply drawn characters and like simply drawn romances. They're both jukebox musicals, for Christ's sake. So like, again, I'm not against that kind of thing. I think just Baz, to me, is a filmmaker with absolutely no restraint in a way that I bump on, and I try not to. But I do think he's good at what he does. I do want to touch on something that, Mick, you mentioned earlier, which was drawing a comparison between this and Cabaret. Because I think one thing that's so good about Cabaret is how rhythmic the edits are in that movie. Like, the musical numbers are just so effectively edited. The cuts just go along with the songs every step of the way. I think at its best in this movie, you get some of that. I think the Roxanne number in particular is just like, that's perfect editing to that song.
I take everything back. That's my favorite scene. I take everything back. Like a Virgin can be just under that.
Absolutely. It's such a ballroom scene. It's like, it felt like Baz Luhrmann did that for himself. He's like, all right, we're just going to do a ballroom number.
Yes.
It's super
we're
sexy.
We're going to do the tango with the devil.
Side note, guys. Side note. I think I'm the only one here who has also seen this on the stage.
Oh, how's the stage show?
And you,
oh my God,
you can
great.
attest that this is better than the stage show.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, I fucking love Baz Luhrmann because also like I like a routine to things, and it is distracting for me, having seen Moulin Rouge as many times as I have, to have new songs in your jukebox musical. But obviously, like, one of the things that they keep like so the same is obviously the Roxanne number, and the opt-up that I have heard Aaron Tveit do like on Broadway. Ooh, that's delicious. The one that I saw here in LA, though, it was also really good. Had a really good time.
What I love about this movie is that it's absolutely a mirror of itself. Because, first of all, okay, so I love it when Ziegler is pitching to the Duke what spectacular is going to be. And I imagine that this is what Baz Luhrmann told the studio when he was trying to pitch it.
I want to know what his pitching style is.
It's an erotic, spectacular scene that captures the thrusting, violent, vibrant, wild bohemian spirit that this whole production embodies. The show will be a magnetic, opulent, tremendous, stupendous, gargantuan bedazzlement to sensual ravishment. It will be Moulin Rouge. And in that scene where they're doing that, where they're like playing it to the Duke, they talk about how it will go on for 50 years. And Moulin Rouge has been turned into a stage show that I bet you 50 years since its release will still be played. Yeah. And this theater will still, and this movie will still be talked about. And I love how it's like, man, it's just like, that's the movie. Fair, Spectacular is the film.
Yeah, to be fair, when you see the stage production, they have somebody that is kind of like Zidler, he's more of like the guy from Cabaret,
right, like the MC.
He's more like the MC of the stage production, and I think that's it's a good twist for the stage production, obviously, because it's so reminiscent of like Cabaret. But it has like the opulence of this era, like stagecraft, so.
I love how the MC in Cabaret is like, leave your troubles at the door, and the MC in this film is like, let's do some fucking poppers. Let's have some fun.
Do some like, poppers. That's a wild statement to make.
That's the energy of it.
Can we have that on the movie poster for this week? Let's do poppers.
Let's do some poppers.
The title of this poster is Let's Do Some Poppers. Oh man! Real quick, I want to finish up what I was saying about the editing, because I think at its best, Luhrmann's doing the Fosse thing, where he's editing very rhythmically. Right. At his worst, he's doing the fucking newspapers flying onto the fucking screen during If I Can Dream in Elvis, where he's cutting away from like emotional moments to hack terrible bits with John Leguizamo, who I cannot fucking stand in this movie. I think it's the most grating performance I've maybe ever seen. It is painful. And in the the 2 seconds where he dials it down, where he's like talking about like, oh, I know you think that I'm just some dwarf who does not know anything about love. Like in that moment, I'm like, okay, Leguizamo like has the capacity to bring emotional honesty to this.
That is what you've been thinking, isn't it, Zach?
Yeah, for the rest of the movie, and he goes right back to it. It's incredibly fucking annoying, and I don't like it, and I don't like to see it. It's worse than the opening of The Pest with John Leguizamo. It is awful. It is awful to behold. I don't know why you would be. It's so irritating.
I love how divisive this
first of all,
movie
I love that he's playing a real painter. Like Toulouse is a real painter who actually resided at the Moulin Rouge.
I did a project on him in elementary school. He must be rolling in his grave.
I looked at a picture. I looked at a picture of Toulouse like online, like an actual photo of the real person dressed as a sitar, and I was like, oh my god, they nailed it. Like I love his performance in that. But Zach, to your point about the editing. Something that I'm really frustrated that I did not share because I didn't know it at the time when we started Musical March by Cabaret is that Fosse would edit to a metronome, which explains so much about why I felt like it was a ticking clock because literally it would, like he would actually edit, which is why it has such a rhythm to it. Now this. I'm not gonna lie to the listeners, and I'm not gonna lie to myself, and I'm definitely not gonna lie to the both of you. I don't think necessarily there's really a rhythm to this, like in terms of like a beat, but there's just such a frenetic energy to it that it's the gestalt of it all. I think it just fits it so well. So I don't feel like it's ever cutting away from emotional sincerity. I think it's building layers upon itself. That it is something that is completely, it's something that's completely wild, and yet underneath all of it, there is a genuine sorrow. And I think that Baz Luhrmann has that with a lot of his pictures, with Romeo and Juliet, with this Moulin Rouge, with The Great Gatsby, with Elvis. It's completely like, of course, it's like super wild and super crazy. It's like a huge party, but beneath all of that, I personally think there is a genuine sorrow that he really captures well and that he understands. Because all of his movies, while they're super fun, they make you sad. They make you feel. They really make you empathize with these characters and what they're going through.
Well,
and I think he's so good at that.
All of his movies are kind of about disillusionment. It's about having like a dream and wanting to keep that dream pure, but life being what it is, kind of just fucks it up and like sullies it. Like
If I Can Dream.
Yeah, like in Moulin Rouge, obviously, like it's the idealism that like love is oxygen, love is all that you need, but life fucking sucks, and sometimes the sex worker that you fall in love with dies of tuberculosis. So love is in fact not oxygen, because if you didn't have that anymore, you would just die.
Oxygen is oxygen. If you had oxygen, you wouldn't have died of tuberculosis, you dumb idiot.
And what does he actually...
I'm in space.
What does he actually learn? He learns that like you can move on from tragedy and
help.
God. You can move on from tragedy and you can enjoy what you did have. And that it's important to experiencing things that will hurt you either way, Yeah,
I think he described this movie as a comedic tragedy. Which
is like a classic an opera has a lot of like comedic moments, but even if it is like overall a tragedy.
I mean, I'm struggling to think right now of a Baz. I mean, maybe Strictly Ballroom, I guess, but I can't think of any other Baz Luhrmann movies that have a happy ending. Like, they all pretty much, maybe Australia, but like they all end in basically tragedy. And I read this article here that when Craig Pearce, his co-writer, and Baz Luhrmann were writing in Paris in the late 90s. They really wanted to explore ancient Greek mythology. And so this is basically inspired from the Orpheus of Thrace and the doomed love of Eurydice.
Which is Orpheus and Eurydice.
Well, it doesn't mention that name, but sure.
Yeah, that's what the myth is.
But yeah, basically, it's where that's where the line where it's like the show must go on, Satine, and we're creatures of the underworld. We can't afford love. They in that Greek tragedy, they go into they chase their love so much that they actually like go with Hades into like the underworld, and they're doomed because of their lust kind of thing. And something that Craig Pearce and Baz Luhrmann wanted to do, apparently, is their inspiration for Strictly Ballroom was David and Goliath, which is like, if like enough love and courage will conquer all. They wanted to kind of return to that old mythology and realize that as they themselves, Baz Luhrmann and Craig Pearce, have gotten older, they realize that yes, like, love and courage can conquer all, but let's be honest, when we get older, sickness comes, death comes. It doesn't matter how much courage or love you have. Sometimes you're just robbed of things. Like, that's just life. And so they wanted to basically they wanted their trilogy to be bookended by these two different kinds of viewpoints. And that's kind of, I mean, it's super on the nose, yes, and it seems really simple, but underneath it, like, I think there's genuine, real emotion that they're doing. And I keep trying to make this point, but I keep sidetracking myself. But Zach, like you mentioned the editing, I found out that the can sequence, which I think is a 65-second sequence, has 85 cuts.
I believe that. That seems low, honestly.
It has 85 cuts, and that's the can sequence is actually taught in editing courses at AFI in UCLA.
It's taught in mind control courses at the CIA to brainwash you with subliminal imagery moving so fast.
It's like that scene from Clockwork
Yes, it's the
Orange.
Ludovico
technique. I think that's really, really cool. The fact that they cram so many edits in, and yet it's completely, you can definitely read everything that's happening, and it's just part of this cacophonous orgy of energy that's happening to distract from what had just happened with Satine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really quick just want to say a couple of things. One, you were saying that Australia kind of has a happy ending. Australia has a sad ending because you've spent 2 hours and 45 minutes watching Australia.
I had a good time with it. I will go on the record and say that I had a good time, and listeners, don't worry, we'll cover it soon.
The Orpheus and Eurydice thing, you can definitely see that in the final sequence when Christian's walking away from the stage and Satine's in the background, and then he eventually turns back around, because the whole Orpheus myth is like his wife is taken by Hades to the underworld and he's got to go back and get her, and the whole deal is he can bring her out of the underworld as long as he doesn't turn back and look at her, and he does, and she gets claimed into the underworld, and that's what happens here. I can see that influence visually.
I'm so sorry.
What?
I just had this thought, is that like there's a Bible story with, what is it? The woman who turns into the pillar of salt, and it's literally
Lot's wife.
Yeah, Lot's wife. And it's just that, basically. It's that story. Yeah. The more you know.
I wonder where they got it from.
It's crazy. Boom. Where do you think they got it from?
We recycle things and we give them meaning.
Once again, Greece up top. Greece can't be stopped.
And look how far they've fallen.
Look at what we've done.
Listen to our last episode.
Mia.
Listen to our last episode.
Oh, okay, real quick. You know how Mick was talking about how he hates the words Mamma Mia together? He's discovered that like that provokes a visceral reaction in him. I discovered something that provokes kind of a visceral like shudder in me, and it's hearing song lyrics read. As though they are poetry. and not sung.
Like spoken word poetry?
Yeah, song lyrics like spoken word poetry just irks me. And it happens a few times in this movie. And every time it happens, I'm just like, I don't like that at all. And, fortunately then it transitions into, Ewan McGregor's lovely singing voice. But when it happens, I'm just like, there's something in me that's having a reaction to this. And I don't
Love
like
is like
it.
oxygen. I love that scene. What are you talking about? I love how earnest he is. I'm like,
I like where it goes. Oh man.
You know what I thought was really interesting that I found out? So Baz Luhrmann directed La Boheme at the Australian Opera House. And it's obviously, so like La Boheme is set in like 1830s Paris, right? So bohemian lifestyle. And then but he shifted it to 1950s Paris. And actually he has like a huge like sign that says L'Amour in his production. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's, I don't know. I wonder how much crossover, because Catherine Martin did also work on the production design for the opera. So then it's like, how much crossover is between the stage production of La Boheme and Moulin Rouge, especially because some of my favorite like non-musical scenes are just seeing like the bohemians in their kind of like little lifestyle, like the little party that they have after they get the job, essentially after Spectacular, just the kind of hedonism,
the little absinthe parties.
Yeah, like the little hedonism that's going on. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this.
Yeah. Thank you, Alexis. It's about time we brought up Catherine Martin.
Yes.
Because as we talked about in Elvis, creative partner and life partner to Baz Luhrmann, she does it all. She does costume, she does production design. It's absolutely incredible. And something that I really appreciate about this, and I never put two and two together, but you see the poster of Moulin Rouge, you have the famous windmill that's there in real life in Paris. But everything in the nightclub, the Moulin Rouge, is just so fucking lit. Like, you have all of the lights, you have all of the red lights, everything looks like it's Christmas lights, and then there's these, like the China paper balls there out there by the elephant. There's just so many lights, and Catherine Martin purposely did that because, first of all, it looks fucking fabulous. It's sumptuous and extravagant, but she said that this takes place at the turn of the century in Paris, and what was new and exciting in Paris at that time was electricity. Yeah. So they would have gone balls to the walls with this, and that's kind of informed her decision to just make it, to just have all these bulbs and everything, this old theater look, which I absolutely adore. I love the old kind of Hollywood prop house brothel aesthetic, personally. I think that's fantastic. But then also one more thing that I found out that kind of blows my mind. Let me actually pull up the exact information here, but when she sings "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," which, by the way, is a fucking banger. When Santine has that.
Good song, bad editing.
And then
she's singing. She's also singing part of. She's singing "Material Girl" by Madonna is kind of like overlaid in there, which I love.
Yeah, and I love all the jump cuts. And then
you have the diamond necklace. You have the diamond necklace that the Duke adorns across Satine's neck, and that to this day remains the most expensive necklace ever purposely made for a motion picture. It at its time was $1 million because it's made from 134 carats worth of diamonds and platinum metal.
Jesus.
That is not a prop diamond necklace. That is the real deal.
Here's something I'll say for Baz. We live in an era of, $200 million movies, a la, I'll pick one at random, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, where you're like, where the fuck did all that money go? I'm never asking that during a Baz Luhrmann movie. The money's on screen.
The money is on screen.
Right fucking there on screen. He's not fucking squirreling it away. He is spending that money on his vision. It's an expensive
money,
movie that
guys.
looks expensive.
Speaking of money, I had another revelation while I was watching this movie with my sister. I was thinking to myself, gosh, like, I used to love this movie so much, like, I used to be really in love with the love story. And then I just, like, turned to my sister last night and I was like, I think when I was little, I was really into this movie because I hadn't realized what being out in the street would mean. He's like all we need is each other, all we need is love, and at the time when I was like really young, I was like, yeah, like I feel it, like, idealistic, freedom, truth,
and now
love.
Alexis,
and now I'm just
and now the line of girls gotta eat is like, hell yeah, girl.
I'm like, yes, girl, you tell him.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
for real. Okay.
What
Okay.
else?
Can we? Okay. So we talked about, what's his name who plays Ziegler?
Jim Broadbent, the
Jim
hero
Broadbent.
of this film.
I think we're all in agreement. He's a serious contender for MVP.
He is
but
the
this
MVP.
movie also made me realize that sometimes my favorite characters are like, okay, people love Darth Vader. People love the Joker. People love villains, right? Because they're cool. But sometimes Mick loves a villain because they're fucking hilarious and pathetic. The Duke in this film, low-key, might be my favorite character because he's just so funny. Can I
tell you my favorite
cringe.
Duke line?
Yes.
So when they're doing Come What May, but it's like during like the very soft part of it where they're going on a picnic and he goes to the side and he says, "Oh, look, my dear, a little frog." And he's just like creeping away in the corner. That had me in fucking stitches last night.
He's so good. Richard Roxburgh is who plays Australian actor Richard Roxburgh.
He's so funny.
For the record, I have stated has the worst Dracula character that I have ever seen in Van Helsing.
He's fucking awful.
Absolutely terrible. And for some reason, Zach, I think you'll appreciate this. During the fucking Like a Virgin sequence, I just like imagined, what if this was just a deleted scene from Van Helsing and that's him playing
That makes sense because he does the Nosferatu pose at one point.
He does, and when the wind is coming up and his like cape is out, he's going, that
shit's so funny.
Like, that is so good. I love it. And I also love it when like he first goes to Satine's room and Christian is in the back and she's trying to like get him out and she finally goes, you need to leave, and he goes, what? I just got here, and just like runs away. I'm
a little bit of two minds on the Duke, because on the one hand, you're absolutely right, it's a very funny performance, and again, he is a big key player in what is, I'm still sticking to it unequivocally, the best sequence in this movie. But I think I have a hard time buying him as a threat because he's so fucking silly. But like there are moments that we kind of need that. So I don't know. Like I do like him. I do think he's funny. I guess I think that maybe if you tamped it down a couple of degrees, I would feel more of a sense of menace from our villain and threat to this relationship. But
some of the most dangerous people in the world are idiots.
Yeah, but like this man is a clown who has never existed.
Mick, thank you.
Like,
Viewers, listeners, you cannot see this, but Mick is in agreement with me.
There's no,
I mean,
no one has ever gone, yeah. Like, it's just, I'm not asking for a lot tamped down, just a slight eensy bit more of a sense of danger and threat from him, because in the moments where he needs to be threatening in the movie, it doesn't really feel in line with the performance. It feels a little bit flat.
Okay. I
do love it.
I will give you. I will agree with that. I will agree that I love the Duke, but towards the third act, when his character actually ends up having a dramatic effect on our heroes' lives, it's a little bit okay, it feels a little forced because of that, because I'll take his life, and thank God it's the hitman that's really doing the heavy lifting. And I'll just add really quickly, I'm a simple man. You put a hitman on stage pretending to dance across stage so he can assassinate someone, I fucking love that shit. Throw that in a movie. That's a 5 out of 5. That always works for me.
That classic thing.
One of my favorite villains of all time. I know we're not the TV majors, but is in MASH, where we have a bad guy named Frank Burns, and all he is a bumbling buffoon. Yeah, he's the bad guy, but you kind of love him because he's just such a moron. I think that's why I like the Duke so much. But Zach, I will give you that. I think when it comes time to when the chips are down and there's a threat upon Christian's life, it's a little bit. You're kind of waiting for it to reach its inevitable conclusion of the plan failing because of who put it into play. But I also kind of just like the visual representation of the entire plan that the Duke has is the gun flying out the window through the sky of Paris and dinging off of the top of the Eiffel Tower is... That if that's not cinema,
I don't know what is.
Oh my god,
that is.
I don't know what is, and I don't want it. I don't want it if that's not what cinema is.
That is Baz just 100% understanding his style.
Yeah, it's he's cooking. He's absolutely cooking. The moon is singing opera. Come on.
Yeah, I think that Baz is someone who can make a 7-course meal. But, it's too much food for me, and some of it's fucking sardines. But I do respect him. I do respect him for having his fucking thing and executing it to a, insane level.
It would be a really good double feature. John Leguizamo would be Romeo and Juliet and Tu Wong Fu.
What's the second one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't
it's
seen
like
that
a cross-dressing comedy, right?
Yeah, with Patrick Swayze and John Leguizamo and Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, right? I've always wanted to see that. My local video store growing up, they always had a poster of that. They played that at the New Beverly last year. Is that good?
I mean... For what it...
So no.
I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't really say. But I mean, I've seen some clips from the parts that I haven't seen, and I still like those other parts. But I've just always wanted to watch that movie all the way from beginning to end, because I think that John Leguizamo is actually very good in that movie, from the clips that I've seen. So I think it'd be a very interesting double feature to see, in Romeo and Juliet, he's very hyper kind of masculine in some ways. And then here in Tu Wong Fu, it's just a good little parallel there. And I don't know. I don't see enough John Leguizamo being leads, I like him a lot as an actor.
John Leguizamo, he has such range. Because this came out, this was back to back with, in terms of Baz Luhrmann's filmography, back to back with Romeo and Juliet, where he plays a super macho, he's got gold pistols.
Yeah, he does. He's wearing one of the hottest outfits. And he looks
such a badass.
That sounds kind of sick.
He's hot. He's hot. He's dangerous.
Down.
And then you put him in this. I love honestly, I'm glad.
I love directors that reuse their actors.
I was just going to say, Alexis, I have to thank you a lot for this, because I think a lot of my appreciation for Baz Luhrmann comes from you kind of like exposing me to him. And I think one of my, if I had to pick like one of my favorite working relationships, working collaborations, it's John Leguizamo and Baz Luhrmann. Because like, it's such a peculiar pairing, and he gets such peculiar parts, and he absolutely fucking flies with them. And I'm a little still taken aback that you don't like Toulouse.
I think it's
like,
awful. I think it's deplorable.
It's so in line with the world.
I do want to talk about how this came back to back with Romeo and Juliet, because I want to get a little bit into the casting, just because this has come up recently, actually. So initially, Baz was talking to Leonardo DiCaprio about playing the Ewan McGregor part.
Christian. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he had him sing a little bit of your song, and was like, "This ain't gonna work out."
Yeah, everyone just think of the scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Leonardo DiCaprio
Can't you see what's behind the red door?
And
and Tarantino told him, "You're bad at singing. That's the point. Just do it."
These days, there's like a lot of stunt casting that goes on, but can you imagine a director who came from directing like opera and he wants to make a musical? He's like, no, actually,
ain't gonna happen.
Like people are always like really surprised when people who get famous from like Broadway, they're like, oh wow, they can like really sing. But when you're at that level in Broadway, like everybody else is at that level, So like it's so when they do the stunt casting with people that really can't sing, it is like crazy.
Well, another couple of people who apparently could sing and came pretty close to getting the role were Jake Gyllenhaal, who I actually just heard about this because he's doing press for the fucking Roadhouse reboot, and he talked about how he met Heath Ledger during the audition process for this. They later went on to be in Brokeback Mountain, and the first time they met was they were both up for the role of Christian in Moulin Rouge.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. The other person who apparently auditioned for the movie
was it Hugh Jackman?
No, this is for Satine. Courtney Love auditioned. And then, was the person who had to sign off on the use of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Wow.
So there's some Moulin Rouge facts.
After watching this, I love Ewan McGregor. Like, just outside of this film, I'm such a huge fan. I'm such a huge fan of Nicole Kidman. They are such a power duet
they really
in this. I can't really see it with anybody else. But I did kind of think about Hugh Jackman because there was an article that said that anytime Hugh Jackman does something really theatrical and he does a musical, it's a shock to everybody except the Australians because that's how he got his start. And it honestly makes me want to watch The Greatest Showman, because that apparently the people behind that movie credited Moulin Rouge a lot to like The Greatest Showman wouldn't exist.
That makes sense.
If it wasn't for Moulin Rouge.
I don't think that it's like the greatest movie or anything, but I will admit that after I saw the movie, there were some of the songs I had on repeat because I really enjoyed singing along to them.
I started watching The Greatest Showman a couple of years ago, and I was like, this is insane. It's like 7 different movies. I got about 15 minutes in and I was like, what are we doing? Stop.
You just don't know how to relax and have fun sometimes, Zach.
That's so not true. I can
accuse Zach of a lot, but that's not one of them. It's just the stuff that he does relax to is and has fun is like the Zodiac.
I like to see procedure, but no, again, like I do like certain over cranked fucking swinging for the fences filmmakers. Baz.
Yeah, you yourself on this episode said that you like Michael Bay.
I enjoy Michael Bay at his best. I enjoy the Wachowskis, who do fucking like insano shit in all their movies that aren't The Matrix, and honestly most of the Matrix movies as well. I don't know, like it's Baz he ain't for me.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
You know what? Pour one out for the homie, I guess.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I again, like Nicole Kidman, it's honestly, when Satine shows up on that swing with the spotlight, might be one of the most elegant, beautiful character introductions.
It's a good
I
intro.
fucking
ever.
love
It's insane. She looks so good.
Her costumes are so fucking good. Yeah, also I love how referential that original Marilyn Monroe, like, kind of, well, so, like, you know, in the Oscars, that when they did I'm Just Ken, obviously that's referencing Marilyn Monroe. You have Moulin Rouge, that's also referencing Marilyn Monroe. But then you also have Material Girl, which is in Moulin Rouge, which is also originally referencing Marilyn Monroe. I don't know. I find that really fun to think about, like, how self-referential culture has, like, gotten in some ways.
Yeah. And musicals, like, do that. Like, a lot of famous musicals are just recycled songs. Like, Singing in the Rain, one of the most famous musicals ever. Most, if not all of those songs in that movie are recycled from famous musicals that came out 20 years earlier. Singing in the Rain is from a movie from the 30s about Noah's Ark. Good Morning is from a Mickey Rooney movie from the 40s. They just rehashed them, did them again, and it created their own thing. And fuck, man, Ewan McGregor's, he has such a good voice.
Yeah,
It blows my
he's
mind.
got pipes.
He's
got pipes. Nicole Kidman has pipes.
such a fat crush on him growing up. Oh my god, I loved Ewan McGregor.
I'm still growing up, and I still have.
I can see
too.
I can see you growing up right now. Oh my god, Mick.
Jesus.
You know, and it's funny. Both of you have said, like, you know, when it comes, you know, we're again talking about this because it's musical March and it's all coming to an end. But you have talked about how certain musicals, like, slap so much that, like, you can be driving on a road trip and you can be listening to the music. I don't do that with musicals, but Moulin Rouge is the only one that I can think of where I will put it on Spotify and I'll listen to its entire soundtrack because it's just so good.
I think
I adore the music in it. It's fantastic. It's mixed so well.
Yeah. You know what I think?
This is my musical. This is my musical, and I'm so happy that we covered it.
Yes, I am too, and I would like to make a point that my favorite people that I have ever known and loved, like, whether that be like in a platonic friendship or a romantic relationship, have been the people that I have sung along to this soundtrack in the car with before. I'm like, that is a real...
I guess.
Yeah, you know what? It's that and fucking Phantom of the Opera. Those are the two that I'm just like, wow. You know what? There's just some sort of deep, deep level that you're touching me in right now. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So, should we wrap up?
Yeah, I'd like to say my final thought on Baz Luhrmann, because this was something that I was thinking about when I was watching this movie. Another filmmaker who operates often at 11, who is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, is Sam Raimi. Early career Sam Raimi, particularly in, like, Evil Dead 2, that movie is just gags, bits, gags, fast cuts, insane shit. Like, it's just throwing stuff at you at a rapid pace and never really letting you catch your breath. I think the difference for me is that early Sam Raimi movies clock in around 89 minutes. I don't know if I've seen a Baz movie that's under 2 hours. And at a certain point, I think it just has a difficult time sustaining for me for that period of time. But I recognize that he is a master of what he is doing. And, you know, God bless you if you like him. I wish I did, because I've seen a fuck lot of his movies.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I've seen so many of his movies.
I do feel like God has blessed me.
I do. Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Honestly.
I mean, a lot of his pictures are odysseys. I think that's why they're so long.
Yeah, they're epics. They're epic journeys.
And I just can't think of anything I would cut out of any of them. I mean, it's just like they could be longer.
I think you could cut as David Fincher once said of his, or sorry, no, as Paul Thomas Anderson once said of Magnolia, you could cut that fucker down.
I'm pretty sure that Strictly Ballroom is under 2 hours.
Yeah, I believe that's an hour and 59 minutes.
I just want to see what an hour and 20 Baz movie might be, because I might really like it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know.
It's an hour and a half. It's an hour and 34 minutes. Strictly Ballroom's only an hour and 34 minutes.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
I think maybe you'll like this better. I don't know. You know what? Actually, I'm very, very
honestly,
excited. I'm very, very interested in this.
Honestly, I think what's interesting about Strictly Ballroom, because Alexis, you also showed me that movie because we were doing the Red Curtain
trilogy.
Yeah. We were doing a marathon. And I've only seen it once, and it's definitely, for you, Zach, you might like it out of all of his stuff the most because it's the most, or I should say it's the least. It's the least, like, bedazzled, extravagant, because it's like, it's him still in, like, independent Australia cinema mode. It's like, it's his freshman, I think it's his freshman film. Yeah. But you can, it's kind of like, Bound in the sense that you can absolutely see him, just like the Wachowski sisters, playing with and exercising what will soon be like their signature. Yeah. Like it's definitely there, but the budget isn't.
I'll be interested
there.
to see what I think about that when I do watch it, because I will say that of the Baz Luhrmann movies I've seen Elvis, I've seen Australia, I've seen The Great Gatsby, and I've seen this. This is definitely my favorite of Baz's movies, and it's arguably the most Baz movie. It's really all of his shit. I think it fits the story is ultimately my main feeling on this.
You should watch Romeo and Juliet. You should watch Romeo and Juliet. I think you might like it.
I think that I might choose a theme. If it has to be my birthday month, it has to be my birthday month. But I might, choose something that is adaptations. Like the whole month is just adaptations of anything. It could be like a popular work, author, novel, something, And I'm going to make you watch Romeo and Juliet.
Again, I'm feeling like Mick when I was like, you might appreciate Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again a little more. I get the sense that I might not, but I'm willing. Listen, that's the whole exercise of this show. We show one another things. I'm down. I'm game.
Yeah. Here, Zach, I'm gonna pitch. I'll put it to you this way. You know what Romeo and Juliet has? It has distinctive John Woo energy.
I'm listening.
There are moments where I'm like, if John Woo did a musical, or at least did like something fucking weird, it would be. It has moments where I'm like, that's like a John
Alexis,
Woo
this
thing
is
right
how you
there.
have to sell me on things.
I don't know how many John Woo movies I've actually seen though.
Have you seen Face Off?
Oh yes, I have seen Face Off.
How have we not covered Face Off in this show?
Good things come to those who wait.
Okay, wait, hold on. Alexis, when you say your birthday month will be adaptation month, you're referring to the movie adaptation, which really is just a Nicolas Cage month, right?
No.
Damn it.
We've dragged this out a little long. I'm going to hand it back to the Baz heads. Are there any final thoughts that you guys have on this film?
Alexis?
Yeah, to be honest, when I watch it now, sometimes I'm like, it's a little cheesy. But I love it, so I don't care.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I absolutely see why people wouldn't appreciate his stuff, and I don't think any real criticism that they have is necessarily invalid. It's just it really works for me.
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't work for you, Zach. It just really works for me. And again, I find it so odd that I think the only two filmmakers whose entire filmographies I've seen are Tarantino and Luhrmann. Those are the only two filmmakers where I've seen everything.
You love your
done.
90s
And
indie
I think that
guys.
says something about me.
Yeah, it's well, that's it. We're done with musical month. We're out of it. It's over. Mick,
out of
how you
musical
doing?
month.
Did you survive?
You know, it was
You made it through?
the beginning. The beginning and the end were really fun. I had a lot of fun with Cabaret. I really want to see all that jazz now.
Right.
I'm really into Bob Fosse. I think he has some of the best editing I've ever seen, and I've only seen one of his movies once. I really, obviously, I don't need to talk about how I feel about Moulin Rouge. It was bookended by really great movies. The middle was a bit of a slog for me. Little Shop of Horrors is fun. It's good. You know, I'd watch it again if it was on. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I saw it again. You know, don't have to do that again for a while. And I'm not going to talk about our last episode because Lord help me. But overall, you know what? Obviously, I was really not excited about Musical March because I tried to sway the election. I pulled a Richard Nixon, and just like Richard Nixon, it didn't work.
Baby.
I'm not a crook. But
Fuck you, Black
I will
Dynamite.
admit it made for good content. And listeners, I hope you had fun. I did have fun. Musical March, and almost to the point where, like, if we decided to do Musical March again, or if we want to do listener viewership, have them vote again, whatever we want to do, I'm down either way, because I think there are some other musicals that would be fun to explore.
Yeah.
But I hate to see it leave, but I love to see it go. Where are we going next? Where's this boat
Hold
that
on.
we're on?
Hold your fucking
Too
horses.
early. Too
Where's
early
it
for
sailing
boat
to?
You're a month
analogy.
early.
What
You're a
next
month
port?
early. God damn you! It's comedy month. We're back into the Film Majors April Fools. We're talking comedies, and
I'm excited. I'm
Does
excited.
anyone have a pick that they want to start out with?
Okay. There are numerous movies that I would like to cover, but I was kind of thinking maybe let's do it like chronologically. Let's maybe start with a classic and then let's maybe move our way up. But I just kind of want to talk about a story about the dude in the City of Angels. Folks, we are going to be starting our second comedy month of this show with the Coen brothers' The Big Lebowski, which I have stated previously, I believe on this show, that I think it might be my favorite comedy ever made, which is a big statement.
This could have come up during our big topic, honestly, because The Big Lebowski is a movie that I absolutely acquired a taste for over time.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I was going to mention that. In fact, I was actually going to pitch as a topic, which I don't think we should do now because it's too similar to this one. But The Lebowski is a movie that, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. We'll wait until next episode. I'm already getting excited to talk about it. But yeah, it's from 1998. It's a comedy crime film. And if you want to watch it, if you don't own it on Blu-ray, how dare you? But you can also just, if you have a subscription with Peacock, you can watch it there, or you can just rent it on any of your streaming services that you prefer.
Indeed.
But I can't wait to talk about it.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, on social media, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Give the episode a like, comment, give us 5 stars on the streaming service that you listen to us to. Give us a like. If you want to reach out to the show, you can email us at filmmagerspod@gmail.com. And with that, let's get on out of here.
Au revoir.
Bye.